Hey everybody, I wanted to talk to you guys today about the difference between working on your business and working in your business. So this is a topic that came up in our coaching call for June. And if you're not sure what coaching calls are, that is something that I offer here in the group. So once a month, we'll be doing a coaching call on Zoom. If you can't make it, it's no problem. You can let me know what your questions are. I will be creating an event for the group to help you guys remember what it is. You can just pop it into your calendar. And like I said, if you can't make it, then you can leave your questions in the comments and I'll address them live, or you can always watch the replay. So working on your business versus working in your business. These things are really different, and there's a lot of stuff that I kind of like to talk about with you guys because I know you are in different places. Some of you are starting your business. Some of you are trying to get a handle on your time because, you know, time always seems to be our biggest commodity, right? So when I say that I'm working in my business, that means I am doing anything that is billable. So working in my business for me right now looks like coaching calls. And when I had my design studio, working in my business looked like consultations, it looked like design work, you know, anything that I could write up under a client's billable hours. And that's something for you to think about too, because when you have your shift and you are really thinking about like, these are all the things that if I'm going to invoice my time for, then this goes under this client, because this can be a little bit different and sometimes these things can get kind of blurred. I hope you guys can hear me. My little one is singing and talking, singing and talking. So, but these things can look a little bit different. When you think about emails that you send back and forth, so communication, in your mind, you may not feel like that's billable, but really you're having to allot the time for that job. And so it actually is, and it should count towards that, because that's when we can get really confused of like, where's all my time going, and why don't I have more time for this, and really trying to figure out what is happening during our day. A lot of times it's that we're not assessing like, what is a billable hour, what are things that are allotted to those clients, and even if it's not like actually billable where you're going to invoice them, like it still should be allotted to that client's time. So you may work with someone under a flat rate and say like, you're going to get a website or branding or whatever it is, and it's $1,200, $5,000, whatever. But when you're looking at your time, you're not really putting everything under that client's time. So sometimes it's really good to get super clear and actually log all of the time that you have, because then you'll kind of know, you'll have a much better idea, and it's going to help you in your day to actually be more intentful about it. So this is me working in my business, and this is the time. So one of the things that I was sharing is that I have time blocks my day where, and this is a block of time, and I work inside of my business. So this is when I'm taking client calls, I'm doing client communication, all of these type of things. And then this is a block where I'm working on my business. And when I say working on my business, I mean anything that has to do with getting more clients. So this can be administration stuff. You know, we have to make sure that we're keeping track of taxes, things that we're going to do for deductions, that we're paying our invoices, that we are managing our money. Those kind of things count. And then there's also lead generation. So anytime that you are getting out there and forming relationships, because that's what lead generation is. So when you spend time on Instagram, not just scrolling though, when you spend time on Instagram with the intent of building relationships, that's lead generation, and that counts as working on your business. When you are in Facebook groups with the intent of building relationships, that's working on your business. When you are creating your posts and you're scheduling them, or you are, you know, planning out your content, you're writing a newsletter, you're doing a blog post, any of that stuff is working on your business. And in the scope of our coaching conversation, what I was saying is that if I don't create a container for this, I could do it all day. I can sit online all day and talk to people on Facebook and like follow up on emails, and I can do that kind of stuff all day long. And so the biggest thing for me is creating a container, and I will be honest, like it's been really hard for me to stick in those containers. And that's when I realized, and that was really like the final thing where I thought, okay, I have got to hire a VA because this is out of control. Because I want to be creating relationships, but I don't have the time to do all the other stuff, like especially with my podcast, for example. So I have to find guests, and then once I get the guests, I have to do the scheduling, I have to do the podcast, which those are things that the podcast recording, like only I can do that. But then it's the follow-up stuff where I have to send them an email and tell them their episode is live, where I'm creating all the graphics, where I'm having to write all the show notes and the content. Like that stuff is getting way out of hand. So I want to create the content, but I do not want to do all the things that I actually don't have to do, so that I have more time where I can talk to people on Instagram and follow up on different leads that I have, so that I'm making sure that I am really staying on top of the relationships and building on the relationships that I do have, while also generating new relationships by doing things like being in groups and being on other people's podcasts and writing blog posts and things like that. So for me, it was a really good way for me to see like where my time was most valuable right now, because if I have decided that, and I have, that I love having this Facebook group and I love my podcast and I really like being in other Facebook groups and meeting new people and talking to people and things like that and doing free calls. Like I freaking love my free calls, right? I don't want to give any of that up, but like something has to go. Just because I used to have a design studio and was an art director doesn't mean that I need to create every graphic anymore. So those are things that I'm letting go of, so that when I'm looking at the time I spend working in my business and working on my business and doing this mom thing over here and being with my kids, that I am really trying to reallot my time. And I hope that that kind of helps you think about it too. And I'll give you one example of a way that this was really just noticing and categorizing which is which thing has really helped someone I know. So she has a big agency, and she was feeling really stressed because she had decided that her biggest role in her company, because she has like an excellent team of people that work for her, is that she was going to just work on sales. And that's what she's good at. Like she's the face of the company. She's an extrovert. Like she's really good at this. And she's, on different boards, and she does all the networking events and all that kind of thing. But then she was feeling really stressed because she's like, I can't get all the stuff done. I feel like I need to be in more meetings. I need to do this. And I was like, you are feeling bad that you're going to all these networking events and then thinking that you need to have all this other time doing more sales stuff. But like the networking events are your sales. So I said, you just need to reallocate where you're spending your time. If you're spending, 20 hours a week on sales, like those networking events that you're going to, those boards that you sit on, like all of that should be calculated inside of that container. So I hope that that kind of helps give you guys some ideas about how you can think about working on your business versus working in your business, and how time blocking that out and really making a decision about how much time you have, right? Because I think we just have a very fluid idea of time, or that could just be me. And it makes it easy for me to get into kind of workaholic tendencies, because I think, I'm the worst at being like, well, this will take me an hour. And I could spend an hour doing it, or I could spend 4 hours doing it, and I just will like lose track of time. So I am having to be so diligent about exactly how I'm spending my time and recording it and logging it and keeping track of it. And I have like 2 different planners. Really working on time, and that has made it very clear to me that I've got to get some help, because I just don't have a good grasp on it. But these are all good things, and hiring someone and investing in your business by hiring someone to help you work on it so that you can work more in it is always a good thing. So I really hope that helps you guys. And if you have any questions about working on versus working in, I would love to hear them.